I don't even know why I'm telling you this. Maybe because the memory won't let me sleep. Maybe because when I close my eyes, I can still smell the earth rotting beneath my feet. It started on a cold autumn evening when the sky was the color of dying embers. I had been driving through back roads, trying to find a shortcut to the town where my cousin lived. My phone had no signal, the GPS kept loading endlessly, and I was already 2 hours late. That's when I saw it, an old dirt path branching off the main road. No signs, no fences, just a narrow track swallowed by shadows. Something told me not to go down there, but I did. The path twisted into the woods like a serpent, and soon the trees closed in around me. The deeper I drove, the quieter the world became. No birds, no insects, not even the wind dared to move through those branches. It was as if the forest itself was holding its breath, waiting. Eventually, the road ended. My headlights washed over a clearing, and in the center stood a tree. At first, it was just a tree, massive, ancient, its trunk thick and blackened with age. But the longer I stared, the more wrong it seemed. The bark wasn't just dark, it looked burned, charred, yet somehow alive. Its roots bulged from the ground like veins, curling and clawing into the soil as though trying to hold something beneath. And then I saw it. A streak of red glistening down the bark. It looked like sap, but thicker, heavier. The beam of my headlights caught it, and for a second, I could have sworn it shimmered like blood. I killed the engine, stepped out, and the silence pressed against me like a suffocating blanket. The air smelled metallic, sharp, as if the ground itself was bleeding. I should have left. I should have turned around, gotten back in the car, and forgotten I'd ever seen that place. But I didn't. I walked closer. The roots shifted under my boots, brittle yet alive, snapping like bones beneath the weight of my steps. The tree loomed over me, its branches twisted into grotesque shapes, like arms reaching to the sky in agony. I reached out, almost without meaning to, and touched the bark. It was warm, like skin. I yanked my hand back, heart hammering, and that's when I heard it, a whisper. It didn't come from the wind. There was no wind. It came from inside the tree, a faint voice muffled, like someone buried alive, calling from within the wood. My breath caught in my throat, my body frozen between fear and disbelief. And then, I heard my name, spoken softly from the hollow heart of that cursed tree. I wanted to believe it was just my imagination, that the whisper was nothing more than the echo of my own thoughts bouncing around in the silence. But no, it wasn't in my head. The voice was real, low, broken, desperate. It kept repeating my name. Every syllable dragged out, as if the tree itself was savoring the sound. My chest tightened, my breath shallow. I tried to back away, but the roots beneath my feet shifted again, coiling like snakes, making me stumble. For a moment, I thought they were going to wrap around my ankles and pull me under. I forced myself to move. My car was only a few feet away, but when I turned back, the headlights flickered, then died. I was swallowed by absolute darkness. That's when I saw them. Eyes, dozens of them, opening in the bark like wounds. Wet, glossy, unblinking eyes. They glowed faintly red, reflecting whatever little light the night had left. My legs trembled. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. All I could do was stare, frozen, while the whispers grew louder, overlapping now, as if hundreds of voices were speaking at once from inside that monstrous trunk. Free us. Stay with us. Bleed with us. The voices weren't begging. They were commanding. And then, the smell hit me. The metallic tang grew stronger, sharper, almost unbearable. I gagged. The ground was wet. I looked down, and in the faint glow, I could see it seeping between the roots. Thick, red, unmistakable. Blood. The earth was bleeding, pooling, soaking into my boots. Panic ripped through me. I sprinted to the car, fumbling for the door handle, yanking it open with shaking hands. But as I reached for the ignition, I froze. Someone was sitting in the passenger seat. I couldn't see their face, only the faint outline of a body, pale skin stretched too tight over bones, long fingers resting calmly on their lap. Slowly, they turned their head toward me, and though their eyes were nothing but hollow pits, I felt them staring straight into me. My body locked up, every instinct screaming to run, but I couldn't move. I couldn't even scream. The figure leaned forward, their mouth opening impossibly wide, and a sound poured out, a sound I'll never forget. It wasn't a voice, it was the tree. The same whispers, the same chorus of suffering, spilling from that thing's throat as if it were nothing more than a vessel for the horror rooted outside. My ears rang, my vision blurred, and I thought I was going to black out. But then, just as suddenly as it began, the figure vanished, gone. The car was empty again. I slammed the door shut, shaking, sweating, clawing at the keys. The engine roared to life this time, headlights bursting back on. But the clearing was no longer empty. The tree had changed. Its roots had spread wider, stretching across the ground like skeletal hands, and hanging from its branches were shapes. Dozens of them, bodies, swinging gently in the night breeze that hadn't been there before, and one of them looked exactly like me. I couldn't look away. That body, my body, hung from the branch like a grotesque reflection, swaying back and forth in the shadows. Its head lolled to the side, eyes half open, mouth frozen in a silent scream. My stomach turned, bile rising in my throat. I slammed the gas pedal, desperate to leave that place behind. The tires spun in the dirt, throwing mud, but the car barely moved. It felt like something was holding it down. The roots. I could see them in the glow of the headlights, writhing and tightening around the wheels, clawing their way up the chassis. The whispers returned, louder than ever, so loud they filled my skull. They weren't just outside anymore. They were inside me. Every thought, every memory, drowned beneath their chorus. Join us. Feed the tree. Become the seed. I screamed, gripping the wheel until my knuckles bled, fighting the urge to give in. My chest ached, my heart hammering, every instinct telling me I was already lost. And then I felt it. Something wet dripping onto my arm. I looked up. The ceiling of the car was bleeding. Thick red streaks slid down the glass, across the seats, onto my skin. The metallic stench filled every breath, choking me. I clawed at the door, desperate to escape, but the locks had jammed. No matter how hard I pulled, the handle wouldn't budge. The tree wasn't outside anymore. It was inside. Branches erupted through the floor, tearing through the metal, wrapping around my legs, my waist, squeezing tighter and tighter. I felt the bark cutting into my skin, digging deeper, and with every wound came warmth, my blood flowing freely, feeding it. The whispers grew clearer, sharper, as if each drop of me made their voices stronger. In that moment, I understood. The tree didn't just feed on blood, it fed on identity, on memory, on the soul itself. Those bodies weren't victims, they were husks, hollow shells left behind after the tree devoured who they truly were. And that thing hanging from the branch wasn't me. Not exactly. It was what I would become. The branches tightened around my chest, crushing the air from my lungs. My vision blurred, my body convulsed, and I knew the tree was pulling me out of myself, ripping my essence away to join the voices trapped inside. But before the darkness consumed me, I heard one last thing. My own voice, calling out from within the tree. It whispered the same way all the others had, broken and desperate, echoing endlessly in the void. My own voice, already part of it, begging to be freed. That's when I realized there was no escape. Not for me, not for anyone who finds that clearing. If you ever see that path in the woods, if you ever find yourself standing before that bleeding bark, don't listen, don't touch it, don't even stop to look. Because once the tree knows your name, it never lets you go.
Subscribe to Horror Story Bar.